Man, listen, guys, back like I never left before, back again in the studio with one of the spoken words of just speaking. Rocky. Man, welcome to Real Shit Let's Talk podcast. Get back to it. Let's go. Rocky, let's get into it, man. Talk to me. What's happening? What's going on, Rocky? I'm going to give you this energy this whole time.
You better.
You know what I'm saying? Because I've been trying to get her all this time, and we just ain't been able to connect. So, Rocky, introduce yourself. Talk to us.
Well, I'm Rocky Toro. You can find me on my platforms at Rocky Toro Speaks, and I'm a professional speaker. I love to dip into motivation, so I talk about the power of betting on yourself and how you can achieve better success with reprogram your mindset. And since public speaking is a transferable skill, I host and I MC, and I have been blessed with the ability to coach people to be more dynamic speakers on stage and be their more authentic self.
Man, listen here. Spoken by the best, spoken by one of the greats. Let's get into it. Rocky, how long you been speaking?
Well, I've been speaking my whole life, but actually made it my career and decided to bet on myself and make it my actual career after I left corporate. Well, I got kicked out of corporate in May. And then after that, I decided I was just going to go full throttle into my speaking career.
When you say kicked out, were you saying fired or just let go?
Laid off is the term that was used. If it all comes down to being fired.
Facts.
Oh, wow.
Was you overwhelmed and devastated though that they let you go?
You know, the funniest thing is that that wasn't the first time I've ever been fired in my life. And, you know, it's interesting because you could be a top performer and still get let go. And that was the situation I was in. But my anxiety actually left my body, completely flushed out of my body the day that they laid me off, because my anxiety was coming from the environment that I was in at my job. So, you know, that's how I knew you will never be comfortable in a place that you're not meant to be in, like 100%. I wasn't meant to be in corporate. I was meant to move on. I learned a lot from it. I grew a lot as a professional. I grew a lot as a person. I constantly used my speaking skills in all the different positions that I had. And it was a way to refine me, expand my thoughts and my ideas, but it also was not my end game. And, you know, when you're not meant to be somewhere, God's going to pick you right out and put you where you're meant to be. So here we are.
That's what I'm talking about. Listen, so Rocky, let's get into it, because you are a liberal woman who will defend tooth and nails to the T. What does that necessarily mean?
Well, I believe in women's empowerment, and I believe that there should be a space for all types of people. And no matter what your beliefs are, no matter what color of your skin, no matter the texture of your hair, your gender, that you deserve a space on this planet because you were put on this planet. And no one has the right to take that from you or tell you that you can't be your most authentic self.
So what about the laws that are put in place to hinder you from being your true authentic self as a woman? What do you have to say about that?
I clearly cannot stand them. Looking dead at the camera, clearly cannot stand a lot of what I'm seeing. It's sad because when you see changes historically that happen, it's an erosion of people's rights and liberties and their abilities to follow their path and be who they are. So it's all a cycle. You go back in history and you study the different points in history and you see the playbook goes to the same accord over and over again. It's just modernized or relevant to the area or country that you're in. And so this is absolutely a battle, but I have a belief that things will go the right way, but not after much strife and grief and a lot of pain that people are going to go through all of it.
Have you been through any of those pain and strife that you're mentioning?
Are you talking more to like women's health and reproductive rights or anything like that?
Anything and everything.
Okay. Well, I mean, sticking to health for women's reproductive rights, I've been very fortunate that I've never had to be in that situation myself, but so many women that I love and adore have. And I was always the friend that didn't judge anybody for making the decisions. It's a hard enough decision as it is. And even some of those people were against it. They never thought that they would. But, you know, there's times in our lives that are just outside of the scope of what we think will happen or anticipate to happen. And the funny thing is I'm usually the one they call because I'm not going to judge them. I'm going to listen to them and let them know that at the end of the day, no one has the right to control the way you move in life. They don't. You will receive the karma and the justice in your life from the decisions that you make. That's just the law of the world. That's the law of the universe. So yes, you can harp on different types of extremes in the world, but that does not mean that that is the case for everybody, because just as much as you'll get into extreme, like somebody using it inappropriately, how many people are you denying the right to proper health care in that particular scenario to save their lives because of the need to control? Because I mean, does anybody know any laws that govern a man's body? I'm just saying. Does anybody know?
Talk your shit then. Let's go. Let's
Talk
get it.
my
I want to
smack.
hear it.
No, but why is it that women are so governed? Well, let's talk about the patriarchy. Let's talk about the way that things are controlled. Let's talk about all types of things. There's all types of larger constructs that are out there in the world that are meant to suppress and shrink different types of people, right? I mean, it happens with people of color. It happens with my curly hair. One of the things I had to deal with when I was in the corporate world was, how will somebody receive my curly hair? I always had to tie my hair back in interviews. Why? I just have my hair out, and because the texture is curly and it's closer to an Afrocentric side, that all of a sudden there's something wrong with it. No, that is a construct that has been created to get people to control them. And, you know, I'm going to leave it there. I'm not going to go tell. I'm going to leave it there. Oh, man. Oh, man.
We definitely not going to.
You know, it's just when to be anything other than the governing or ruling class or party, you're going to find yourself in trouble, like, or people trying to control you. And there's just been a lot of push and pull in those dimensions in that world for a long time. I'm a DE&I person. Like, why are we so afraid to have people with ability and talents rise to the top? Why are we constantly using the same tired words to make it seem like only a certain type of person can excel to the top? Talent is evenly dispersed. Opportunity is not.
So now is your opportunity to be the voice of the women or voice of the people? Which one?
You know, it's so funny. Identity is a very interesting thing, right? And a lot of times people will try to put you in a box and say, well, this is your niche. This is where you go. I am a woman, so I will always speak to the identity of a woman. I'm Puerto Rican. I'm going to speak to my ideas and my understanding of being an Afro-Puerto Rican American in this world, right? I am also a part of the class that was able to get educated. I have a different perspective than different types of people, but that does not make me better than someone that has not received education. And it never will. That's classist. So for me, I believe that a lot of what people try to use to keep others down, I like to shatter those ideas and break the glass ceiling across the board, because all you're trying to do is control people and make and create a dominance. And I'm not for that. I'm not for it at all.
You're not for the bullshit?
Not at all.
So you, that's how you gotta say it. I'm not here for the bullshit.
I'm not here for it.
You know what I'm saying?
Not.
So I'll say this. So your upbringing and different things of that nature, you said you're Puerto Rican?
Yes.
And so is that transition been a hard life to live because you're Puerto Rican versus?
Every single dynamic has their own pains, trials, and tribulations they go through. So you can never sit here and lessen someone else's pain that they've been through and act like one community is above another. What I will say is that I grew up in a town that was predominantly black and white, and they did not understand me and what I looked like. So I dealt with racial issues from the time I was a kid. They looked at me and I would say I'm Puerto Rican, and they're like, oh, so you mixed? And I'm like, oh, I'm Puerto Rican. And they were like, oh, so your daddy black and your mama white? And I'm like, no. Oh, so your daddy white and your mama black? And I'm like, no. And so it would just leave people puzzled. And it was unfortunate that you didn't like that there was a lack of understanding at that time on the different types of people around the world. I didn't get people to understand what a Puerto Rican was until Jennifer Lopez became commercialized. And I had a kid. Oh man, this is a funny one. I was on the school bus and this young kid looked at me and he said, "How can you be Puerto Rican? You don't got hair like Jennifer Lopez."
Wow.
And it's like, how many times do I explain what makes up a Puerto Rican? The enslaved, the indigenous, and the Spaniard, right? That is what creates a Puerto Rican. And if you look at all of the Afro influence throughout the Caribbean and in South America, it all came down during the slave trade, the transatlantic slave trade, and where you got dropped off. Right? And then the indigenous part of your blood is where you were at. The Taino Indian is the is the indigenous blood of the Puerto Rican. So mix that with the conquistadores at the time, and you're going to, and it was a very brutal way that the indigenous and the blacks were treated. Let's be real. Right? Let's be real.
100%. You're right.
So I was having this conversation the other day and they were like, well, wouldn't that still consider you to be mixed? I was like, technically you can almost look at it like a rebranding because culture and identity still came from there and Puerto Ricans arrived, right? And it's just it's a perspective to look at, right? Because we all have mixtures happening in our blood, no matter what. It's just where we are in today's day and age. It's what is the browning of America?
Listen, Rocky has no filter, right? So let me tell you about her. Since she's being all, nice with it. Listen, she is very boisterous. And when she speaks, she commands the room. That's just one of the things that I've noticed. And for her being a public speaker,
that's me.
She has no problem to tell you about yourself and still go up there and perform. And so, like, in your journey of being a public speaker, how are you how are you transitioning to one of the great speakers being you?
I like that question. I would say that at the beginning, I wanted to have this particular facade, right? And I told myself, all right, we're going to come off professional. I want to make sure that I'm not rattling too many, just causing too much turbulence. And in the midst of all of that, you're trying to fall into this perfectionism, right? And the reality is that the longer you hold back who you are is the longer you hold back the gift you were given on this planet and the message you were meant to put out there. And so you say it. And so when I stopped caring and I got back to who I was and I said, nah, wait a minute. I do have opinions about women's rights. I do have opinions about what happens to people of color in this world. I do have opinions about people being able to follow their religious beliefs and be comfortable in who they are and have that freedom. I have so many beliefs. And I was made this way to share them. Now, I think it's important to be refined in many ways in how you express yourself. Yeah, I'll go and I'll have no filter at the same time that there's a refinement to what I'm saying, right? Because professionalism is very important. Okay. But if you really want to have a conversation with me, we're going to talk about different types of things and how we have an opportunity as individuals and people to see more within others by expanding our mindset. Right?
Okay.
So when you're out there and you say, all right, I'm growing to be, one of the greats and I'm looking to really expand, it is also having that authenticity within yourself to say, this is my energy, this is how I move, and I'm not going to be afraid of who I am because your audience will come to you. You will attract what you are. But if you are not being honest with who you are, there is nothing but falsehoods to attract. So that will crumble and shatter. And the people that don't resonate, by all means, we're allowed to be different in this world. I'm not going to get mad at you because we don't resonate. I'm just interested in, let's have a conversation and understand what makes you tick.
She's here to ruffle feathers. But let me ask you this. Through all your speaking journey and the mentorships and different things of that nature, do you feel that you would not be where you are without them?
Yeah, definitely. It's all a journey and a growth, right?
Okay.
And we can't sit there and just focus on the end, because is there ever really an end? Because you're just going into the next cycle.
Right.
And everything that has happened to this point in my life has happened for a reason. It's happened for a purpose, even if it's been difficult purposes and difficult moments. And yeah, I'm going to continue to grow because that is what I'm called to do. I don't want to say stunted, and I can't. That's just not how that works. People are always going to, when the right people are aligned in your life, they're going to help you grow, and they're going to keep you out of your comfort zone.
And then, so now you're out of your comfort zone?
I'm always out of my comfort zone. I actually posted about it, that the comfort zone is so fleeting. Goodbye, sweet comfort zone.
And so, what is one stage or more that you would want to be on? Like, it could be your dream stage or one that you create?
Well, I will be on a TEDx stage one day. I will be there. I also will be on university stages and Ivy League stages. You'll catch me, you'll see me. Absolutely. And that's only going to project my brand farther to be able to do more. And yes, there will be a day when I'm throwing my own events, and I'm going to pack out my own places, and I'm going to sell my own tickets and do my own thing and continue to grow, because that's what it is. Why limit the vision and the belief?
Okay. So I think one of your peoples that you are under is David Power Talk.
I had a chance to work with David Power Talk. I said this earlier today. That's the next community I'm joining. I'm going to be in your community, David. Just wait. I just got to get a couple things done. I want to make sure I'm ready for you.
So I was going to say that would probably be a good collaboration.
He's awesome. He's an incredible speaker, and I also believe he has incredible energy and incredible personality. And the people that are in his community and around him are really dope too. So I'm looking forward to reconnecting with them for sure. I had a great time meeting all of them. So you all are wonderful people.
And so do you see them grow? Like, you seen the growth of the people that he's mentored, or the people that he's helped get to the next level? Like, do you see, because like, here we join things, right? Mm-hmm. And to get a certain amount of information. Now that we get that information, now it's what we do with the information. Now, you seeing him, is it going to level you up?
David knows what he's doing.
Okay.
And at the end of the day, in the weekend that I had the opportunity, because our mentor, right, mm-hmm. Brennan and him did a collab together. Within that one weekend, he was dropping gems and giving what was needed to help people become their best selves and help them continue to grow and get to that next phase. Because the thing is when you're coaching and working with people, everybody needs something different. Everybody needs a different focus. So it's not one size fits all. Yeah, you can do different exercises to help people grow, but some people are going to need more help with confidence. Some people are going to need more help with how they project their voice. Some people are going to need more help with making sure that their posture stays where it needs to be. Some people are going to need to make sure that they're not getting nervous and over talking, right? And they're not going over time. And it's just, and it's a combination of many things, because when you're on stage or when you're speaking, the adrenaline kicks in no matter what you do, right?
Big time.
It kicks in, and you have to know how to channel that energy.
I think too, one of the greatest things that I like about you're not afraid. Because you're listen, that's what I'm saying. You gonna just keep laughing because like, she's making it look good, guys. And I mean, as you should. But you get with it. You get gritty, and you're with the shits. You know what I'm saying? And I think one of the greatest gifts that you have is you don't have a problem being you. You don't have a problem calling a spade and calling a donkey an ass.
I like that one.
You don't have a problem in doing that. One of the things too, for me, that I would like to see you do is go, like, not just live, but just go to some event that it's like, hey, you got any questions? And just talk yo shit right then and there. And they just be like, We knew we shouldn't have gone her. But because I'd say this, right? Is we've known each other quite some time.
Yeah.
And like I said, the mentorship and stuff that we've been through and the different things that we've gone, trials and tribulations that have procrastination,
Burnout,
overwhelmed, and not understanding, right? I believe that once you see yourself in the spotlight, that's why I feel like you're really gonna shine. I feel that while we're in the communities and while we're in the mentorships and different things of that nature, like our light is a slim dim, and it's not like a bad thing, right? It's just a dim light to say, okay, this is where you are. Now, when the spotlight is on you, like you said, you're trying to do the TEDx, you better rock the mic. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, because I feel like you have what it takes to be a powerful speaker, but also you have the power to captivate the room. And it doesn't have to be about spiritual reality, blah, 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 and whatever else. It's just you speaking from a place of knowledge, understanding, mindset, peace, and you're convicted. You have to see that within yourself. And that's what I see. And that's what I noticed that, like, but I'm saying that's what I've seen. Like, being in the community, like you said, we don't have a problem. Hey, I ain't do it. I ain't do the work. I ain't do the homework.
I didn't get it done. I'm not going to lie to you.
Right. And, or how much it takes to get to the next level. You keep showing up. You never shine off. So I would say to anybody, like, never dim your light from the shining star that you are to be. Never feel that you won't get to that next level because it's just around the corner. And like I said again, you know, you all shy today because you ain't shy.
I'm not shy.
Listen,
I'm not being
she
shy.
being shy today, but it's all good because guess what?
That's hilarious. Perspective is a funny thing, ain't it?
It is. See, now you talking.
Yo, what's up?
Exactly. But I'll tell you this. Let me ask you this: being a public speaker,
yeah,
do you feel like there's some women that are intimidated by you?
I don't even think it's just being a public speaker. It's just me being who I am.
Okay.
I mean, I first off, I just want to say thank you for all the beautiful compliments you just dropped. I really appreciate you. And just going back to what you said, that I'm always being myself. The thing is that I had to earn that back in my life because I was very much the type of kid that was my authentic self, but I didn't have the best childhood growing up, especially with my mother. I don't speak to her. We don't have a relationship because of the way she acted. And I very much did not have a voice. I was very quiet. I was very to myself, but I always had a mind and I always thought to myself, no, I don't agree with that. And I would internalize it and keep it. When I got into college, I ended up being around people that helped bring out who I was and embraced who I was. And were like, you are amazing just the way you are. And they allowed me to heal through all of the hardships and all of the time, you know, in a safe space. And then I went to New York City and my whole life changed. And I lost everything. I lost my soul in New York City. I had to earn every aspect of who I was back.
What do you mean by that? You lost everything.
I lost my job in New York City and I was out of professional work for 16 months. So I was just doing side hustles, working with kids after school for a little bit. Then I would go and be a shot girl after that. And I was just picking up little side gigs just to survive. And my mental health went because I didn't have health insurance. I couldn't talk to anybody. I just had to just like go through it. And I would say once I hit that year mark of being unemployed, it does something to you. It, like, you just kind of snap. I was so grateful that I was able to get back into corporate and get a job. However, the job I got paid me way less. Way less. So I never really caught up. And so New York was just a difficult time. And coming back home from living in New York City, I had to just start over again and finances, everything. The last year I was in New York City, I mean, I would go into work, but you don't hug your coworkers, right? I didn't have physical touch with anybody for almost a year. Like that will also play with your mind. So just learning to get back to myself and who I was and my emotional self and love myself again and find my voice again after so many people put me down. And I mean, all the ways, I can't even, we don't even got enough time. Plus this isn't a therapy session, but
but we want to hear, like, I'll tell you this, sir. The voice of reason, it becomes a treasure to somebody, right? Mm-hmm. Because there is some lady, little girl, little boy out there that doesn't have a voice, that doesn't know that there is help out there, or to not give up hope that something will come as long as you keep working to it. Because I believe that therapy is important.
Yes. Yes.
I'm learning more and more about it. And like you said, you crashed in New York and then revamped and then got a corporate job, made way less. People need to really understand that, like, for those who are in corporate world, hey, congratulations. Hey, cool. It's always good. It's no shade thrown. But if you lose that job tomorrow, what are you going to do? What do you have in mind? What do you have planned? That is the things that we have to start thinking about. And that's why I said, speaking about your story, or just going through a little bit of it, it's not as bad because we don't know how bad it got. You say again, but when you say it though, it's those things where it's like, hey, I've been homeless. I've been living in a shelter. I didn't have transportation. Mm-hmm. I walked everywhere. Some days I wore the same things every day. Sometimes I ate just the same food. You get what I'm saying? So like what I like about it is that you're able to pull that all in together and be the speaker that you are. Mm-hmm. Be the authentic person that you are. And that's what I say. Like, so for me, it's what you say, your authenticity side mm-hmm. of things. That's what resonates with my audience, is hearing somebody of not necessarily any nationality, but listening and saying, dang, she went through that. I'm going through that right now. Yeah. I lost this and I lost that. And they don't see no other hope. They don't see another way out. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? That's what I look at. So that's why I was like, we like to get into it around here. We like to get the raw, like say, hey, you was this. Wow. How did you make it through? What did you do? And so now I can see you've honestly went through your trials and tribulations and you came up on the other side. And now you're not just speaking for yourself, you're speaking for every woman or every girl or just a little voice that has a loud message. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I like, man.
Thank you.
You know?
Thank you.
And it does something, right? Mm-hmm. It's one of those things, Rocky, that, man, we know each other from a wet can of paint.
You're right.
And all of us in the community, shout out Tink, Devontae, who else is on there that was live?
Drawing all types of blanks right now.
Yeah. Did I say Devontae?
You said Devontae.
I said Devontae. Listen, we all came together in this community, man. Oh, David. Shout out David.
There you go. Shout out David. Shout out Brendan, because he's the one that put it together. Shy, one of the other coaches that comes in.
Yeah.
We got a dope group. We got a dope group.
Yeah, man. The energy. Like I said, guys, Brandy. I'd say this, and I'll let Rocky finish it out for me. If you're not in any communities, or you need people to talk to or to help you perfect your craft, whether you are in corporate, whether you are an entrepreneur, whether you're just a person just doesn't know, man, listen, get a community. Get into a community and get around like-minded people so that like-minded people can help you achieve the next level, the goals that you set for yourself, so that you don't fall behind the 8 ball, and always do what you love and love what you do. Because if you don't, you will crash, you will burn, and you will just go through a lot of turmoil that you don't have to. And with mentors and like Rocky, Brendan, Nehemiah Davis, David Shands, Donnie Wiggins, anybody out there, everybody's here to help you. But knowledge is not free unless you're willing to do the work. Mm-hmm. And nobody can ever take that from you. So Rocky here, how can we get in contact with you? How can we lock in with you?
Well, you can catch me at Rocky Toro Speaks on Instagram. You can catch me on Threads. You can catch me on Facebook, YouTube. You can get my website as well, Rocky Toro Speaks, where you can book me for my keynotes and workshops. Talk a lot about mindset, because mindset is what set me free through all of that. When I was able to listen to that voice within that was programmed within me when I was young and say, no more, I'm going to challenge this voice and I'm going to grow. That's when things started to change. So if you are interested in growing, bringing me in, having a keynote about that, you already know, betting on yourself, that's where it all begins. 100% agree with you on that environment part of it. Your community is your environment, and you want to make sure you're being fed a healthy environment for sure. So if you are interested in working with me, again, it is at Rocky Toro Speaks. I have a lot of fun on IG. You'll see me having a few lives and all that kind of stuff as well. So it's just it's been a great experience so far, and I wouldn't trade it in for the world.
Listen, and that's just speaking from going from corporate to losing to back to corporate to actually honestly washing her hands free from it and becoming the entrepreneurship woman that she is. And that's just like through the trials and tribulations, and every day isn't peaches and roses. Every day isn't
it ain't
a lot of money coming in, but guess what? Her time is coming. And like I said, here on Real Shit Let's Talk podcast, I like to say thank you, because listen, this is a long time coming again. Another one, man. And we're going to keep coming, and we're going to keep coming. And she's going to keep speaking to the masses, y'all. So listen, I appreciate y'all. Listen, also, I have a 21-day accountability workbook, y'all. Listen, y'all need to get this accountability. And Rocky here has her speaking, and she's going to help you, that voice, that little voice inside that you want to speak. Hey, us together, man, listen, as a dynamic duo. Man, listen, y'all. Hey, tune in, click like, subscribe on YouTube. Hey, share this with a person. Reach one, teach one, man. Hey, thank y'all for tuning in to Real Shit Let's Talk podcast. We out.